Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in the family of ARTDO International, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Atif Abdelmageed from Sudan, the CEO of ARTDO International. Very warm welcome today in this important webinar, which is part of ARTDO International series of sessions organized for the benefit of our lifetime members and especially invited guests. Who Took My Honey? A very interesting title that creates a lot of curiosity. Who took your honey? Happy Vijaya. The only person who can help us to know and clear our queries must be a beautiful rose flower from Sarawak that is close to the heart of our author. Yes, it is true. Today, our sharp facilitator is a professional moderator in the Santai Menda, which is the mindset program of Sarawak, Malaysia, Miss Theresa Andrew. She is the founder and CEO of Sungi Solution, a wealth planner who helps people to understand the limitation and exclusion of their insurance policy and guides them to know what is claimable and what is not. So, Ms. Theresa, the mic with you to help us to know who took the honey of Mr. Vijaya Kumar and who does not. Thank you very much. Ms. Theresa.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Atif, for the brief introduction, and thank you for having me today. So I would like to first welcome all ARTDO members and invited guests. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. So my name is Theresa Andrew, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar titled Who Took My Honey? All right, it is a book authored by Mr. R. Vijaya Kumar, or we would like to call him Mr. Vijay. So before we start our session, let's do some housekeeping. Okay, make sure your audio is muted while the session is ongoing. And if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. And finally, please rename yourself with your country next to your name. All right, so that we know where you're from. Now, you have known my name and my background, and it's time to get to know our speaker of today. Okay, some of you, I believe you have known him, but for some, this could be your first time meeting him virtually. So, all right, to introduce him, instead of reading his CV, I'm going to play a short video clip to introduce him. So let us watch this video to introduce Mr. Vijay. So Mr. Vijay and I, we share the same hobby, which is gardening. So I met Mr. Vijay about 2 years ago. We worked together on a series of programs initiated by a youth club in Malaysia, in which he is one of the advisor of the club. And I myself is the public relation officer and also a moderator for the weekly virtual session, which mostly we will discuss about mindsets, self-development, and financial literacy. So he is also our facilitator and speakers for our series of financial literacy topic. He is a person who believes in empowering and giving values to others. So though he is retired, but that doesn't stop him from pursuing his life purpose. So his life purpose is so big and still remain intact that he is never tired of it. So let us welcome Mr. Vijay for his introductory remark. You can welcome him. You can type in the chat box by typing hi. So hi, Mr. Vijay, welcome and thank you for being here. I'm sure we are all excited with the topic today, Who Took My Honey? So can you say a few words before we start, Mr. Vijay?
Thank you, Theresa. Happy to everyone that is joining us. First and foremost, Theresa, thank you for your kind introductory statements. Ladies and gentlemen, the video you saw just now was actually conceived, designed, and produced by Theresa for this special ARTDO webinar. So thank you, Theresa, for taking the effort to not read, but show us some pictures and some sounds. Thank you very much for that. But moving on, let me first and foremost put on record my sincere thanks and appreciation to ARTDO International, in particular to our Emeritus Chairman, Dr. Thomas Chi, to our President, Abdul Rashid, to CEO, Dr. Atif Abdelmageed, and not forgetting our past President, Rita Go, for giving me this opportunity to share with you some insights of my book on this webinar. I would also like to thank all the participants for taking time on this Saturday to join us on this webinar. I really hope that you will enjoy this session. I also see among the audience some very good friends, Jitesh, Bernie, and a few others. I won't name the whole lot, who actually inspired and motivated me, keep me going to complete this book. Not forgetting Maria and Rita, who always ask me for deadlines. There are also one particular person here, I won't name names, who I can only say she's my neighbor, and she took a lot of time and effort to read and reread my manuscript, make proofreading and editing, and make it in the form it is today. So with that brief introduction, thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to you, Theresa.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay, for the introduction. Now, next, we're going to have an interaction with all of you today. So it is in the form of Mentimeter. It is a simple and short survey. So if you have any phone, or you might use your existing gadget that you have with you now, just grab your phone or any gadget you have, type Mentimeter. We will show it in the slide. Okay, go to menti.com and fill in the code number and type the answer. Okay, the questions for the survey is, what does happiness means to you? What does happiness means to you? What does happiness means to you? Go to menti.com and fill in the code number is 39431733. You can submit, and then we have the answer already. What does happiness means to you? I will just give you some example. You can write in one word or in a sentence. Like for example, some people might think that good food is happiness, or being rich, or having happy family. Okay, some feels like financial freedom, or maybe travel the world, quality time, or simple life. As you can see here, we have the answers: satisfaction, joy. Looks like when you see the joy, love, that means a lot of people have voted for love and joy. You can see that, okay, keep them coming. So we have, yes, being with lovely family. So I can see the love is bigger than the rest. That means a lot of you, most of you are voting for love, The top three is going to be love, joy, and peace. All right, I think, okay, some more coming in. Love, joy, and peace, still the top three. Love, peace, joy, still the top three. All right. Next week is financial freedom, satisfaction. All right. So, okay, I think I stopped the Mentimeter here. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. All right. Okay. Looks like our ARTDO now is full of word clouds. So, Mr. Vijay, do you have anything to say about this?
Well, well, happiness it can be defined in so many ways. It's something very personal, and I think everybody is right in his own self. And I think we will just start the program now.
All right. So, okay, Mr. Vijay, for the first questions, I'm going to ask you about the title of this book, Who Took My Honey? Because when you told me for the first time about Who Took My Honey, it actually immediately reminds me of the other book, okay, titled Who Moved My Cheese? So here, I actually had recorded a short video clip. This video is actually unplanned, it is spontaneous and without any script, but I feel it might help me to introduce this book to every one of us here. So let's watch this 1-minute video about what I found out about this topic before we proceed to ask you the questions.
When I think of honey, honey is something sweet. It is something that you will look for when you have sore throat, when you're not feeling well. You will look for, you will take honey and you mix with lemon and hot water or warm water. You will drink it, hoping that it will cure you. The next thing about honey is something that how do you call your how do you call your loved one, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and even your kids? All right, it is something that makes you feel happy. If you call your honey, come here, it's normally I call my kids, sometimes I call my son honey. Even if you have a boyfriend, you have spouse, you call them honey. Some people call them honey. The next thing about honey is for ladies like me, honey, if you mix with egg, you can make your own face mask so that you have a smooth, silky and beautiful skin.
All right, that is what I think about honey. But Mr. Vijay, my question to you today is, why you choose this title?
Okay, looks like a lot of definitions for honey. Let me start one by one. Yes, Theresa, you mentioned that it sounds like Who Moved My Cheese? In fact, when the book was out, I had a friend of mine who congratulated me on writing the book. And he too told me that it reminded him of Who Moved My Cheese. But he said that was 20 years ago. And that kind of struck my mind. 20 years ago, he remembers the title, but he forgot the content. So title is very important. It has a point called association. So if you get the right title, people tend to remember the title. More interesting of all the answers I got for Who Took My Honey was about a month ago when I gave a talk on my book. And I started the talk with saying the book I wrote is Who Took My Honey. And then immediately the person sitting in the front row, right in front, put the hand up. It was a lady. It was a young Malay lady. She put a hand up and then she told me, Mr. Vijay, my name is Hani Binti Abdullah. I am single and available. Nobody took me. And then I had a big problem to start my speech. But more on the serious note, the book Who Took My Honey, the word who stands for someone or something. Took means snatch away. My, something that belongs to me. And the word honey in this book means happiness, joy, and peace. As we just saw just now, happiness means so many things. It could be success, it could be achievement, it could be peace of mind. Like you said, it could be a medicinal value and so many other things. But the point is, it has to be short, it has to be appealing, it has to be attractive, and it has to have some association with the topic. Over to you, Theresa.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vijay. I hope everybody's has some clues now on this topic, who took my honey, because earlier on, everybody is so curious. Everybody says they are curious who about this topic, who took my honey. So the next one, Mr. Vijay, when we first met, you told me that you were writing a book. I still remember there was one time you talk about your book, you're writing that book, and you sent me a photo of your first draft. I still remember it's in a very thick, and it looks like in a A4 size. You print it, but at the back of my mind, I was wondering why Mr. Vijay is writing this book, or what actually motivated you to write this book? Yes, Mr. Vijay, what actually motivated you to write this book?
Okay, Theresa. Well, writing has been my passion from young. I remember when I was very young, my grandmother used to buy lots of magazines, and in the quiet when she was not around, I used to cut up all those magazines, put the pictures, put the articles, and make my own magazines. So you see that I had this little interest in magazines. And then when I went to school, I became the editor of the school yearbook. And when I went to work, most part of my working life was basically writing proposal papers, research papers, and all kind of papers. But on a serious note, the real interest to write this book, the motivation came about 1 year before I retired. I was in the crossroads. I had to relook at my life, where I am. The most important question at the time was, where am I going to go? The next stage of retirement life. So I thought about it and I reflected. And one idea kept on bugging me. Was I really happy? I've worked so long for 35 years. And the question that was bugging me, among others, was I really happy? And so I did my research. I talked to people. I discussed this matter in length with a lot of people. And this book actually is the total summary of all I learned about happiness that I would like to share with my readers. Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay. You are the type of person who would always like to share what you know, your knowledge, your experience. Because I am also learned a lot from you. That's an inspiring story you have there. So, Mr. Vijay, you wrote a book about happiness. But what type of happiness, or what happiness that you talk about in this book?
Well, as you said, Theresa, this book is about happiness, or rather to become more happy than what we are. Let me start by saying happiness is something that we all want. It is a universal desire. In fact, everything we do is either in pursuit of happiness or to avoid unhappiness and suffering. The current mantra, the current formula is do this, and then you will be happy. So what do? We study hard, we go to work, we get promoted, we have a family, we have children, and then we have the 3 P's: position, power, possession. And we think that once we do all these things, we would be happy. But the reality was quite different for me. Number one, I found this was a destination disease. Happiness was postponed to a future time, not right now. So that was my major finding. Number 2 was happiness was conditional. You got to do this. If not, you're not happy. And the third thing, which you read my book, I talk about the hedonic adaptation or treadmill, which simply means every time we have a goal, we achieve it, we are extremely happy and joyful. But after some time, it fades away, it declines, and then we have to find another mountain to climb. So this brought the curiosity of me to start researching on happiness. And what this book talks about is to reverse this growth or happiness formula or mantra, which I say, be happy first, everything else will fall in place. For example, a happy parent gives a happy family. A happy worker becomes a happy organization. A happy citizen, and you get a happy country. And most important, a happy person has a happy life. So this is what this book is all about, Theresa.
All right, beautiful, Mr. Vijay. The explanation, I love it when you say be happy first and everything else will follow. So, Mr. Vijay, all right, I have the book with me now. Let me show you. Okay, I love the size of this book. Okay, it is not too big. It is not too small. I can carry it with me in my handbag. Sometimes, I read and scribble in this book while sitting in my car. So, no. I'm not driving, sitting in my car holding this book. Actually, I'm holding this book and reading scribble while sitting in the car waiting for my son at the school compound. So for the benefit of others, everybody here, this book has 143 pages. But Mr. Vijay, can you tell us what are the key takeaway of this book?
Okay, before I start, then I just like to inform everybody. This is not my original design for the book. Theresa was once again the one who designed the book cover, which many of my readers found it extremely peaceful and pleasant. They really liked the book. So thank you once again, Theresa. Now, the key takeaways from the book are as follows. I started with the topic that happiness is a feeling, an emotion. And where do feelings come from? From your thoughts. Where do thoughts come from? From your mind. So then I asked the question, what is the mind? What is the mind? In my book, I say our mind is a series of programs that have been programmed to us from childhood. Even till today, programs are being loaded into your mind from outside, consciously or unconsciously. How are they downloaded? It's from the environment that we be in, the books we read, the things we hear, the feelings that we have. It's all being programmed into you. And how does this happen? A, by programming. B, by conditioning. Programming means somebody will tell you something that you think it is true. Money is the root of all evil. So that gets programmed to us. When we see money, we think it's evil. If somebody else programs you, lack of money is the cause of all evil, then you will think that you need money in order to be okay. So that's one. Number two, of course, is the process of conditioning. I think we all heard the story of conditioning. Yeah? The experiment where the professor rings the bell, the dog comes and then he serves food, and after some time he rings the bell, no food, but the dog is still hungry and sliving. So we are also told. Can you recall sometimes when I watch TV, automatically I need tidbits or some chocolate. Not that I want it, conditioned. Some people, when stressed, they need to smoke or need to do something else. So these are also conditioning that has come in the mind. Now, as a result of all this programming, we have what is known as paradigms. Paradigms means a set of beliefs, assumptions, and values. So we can group these paradigms. I have some paradigm about myself. I have paradigm about my parents. I have paradigm about my family. I have paradigm about health, world. And when you put all these paradigms together, that's what we know as our mindset. So that in brief is a mindset. Now here comes the interesting point. Whenever what your beliefs, assumptions, and values match the world outside, both of them are in equilibrium, you are happy because what you think is what the world gave you. However, the moment your beliefs, values, and assumptions are not congruent, not in equilibrium with the world outside, we become agitated, we get angry. In short, we are unhappy. Of course, the world, we cannot change. The world will be world as it is. Before we are born and after we die, the world will be the world. We can't actually change it. However, the world that we have inside here, the mind, the mindset, it can be changed. Because the very programming and conditioning that was done to you can be reprogrammed. So what this book actually does is give you some tools and techniques how you can reprogram your mind such a way that whatever happens in the world outside, your world inside is very stable, it's in equilibrium, it's in equanimity. So that is the key subject, the tools and techniques that I've written in the book. Very quickly, I will talk about 3 other things that the book touches. Number 1, I quote from my book. The world is not here to give you something, but the world is here to teach you something. Very often we will always blame the world. The world has been unfair to me. I didn't get it. He got a promotion. We are very good at blaming. And some of us even blame God because he doesn't answer you back immediately. So every time the world is, the problem is outside. But actually, the world is here to teach you. And what is the world teaching you? It's teaching you to evolve. I always say, we are not here to exist. We are here to evolve. Point number 2, we need to learn to accept things as they come, not the way we expect to come. Very often we expect certain things to happen in a certain way. And the moment they don't happen, we are unhappy, we get agitated, we do. But the fact of the matter is, you need to accept things because that is the way things are supposed to be. The moment you accept, you are ready to move on. You are ready to make your steps ahead. Unfortunately, by not accepting, we get stuck. We go back again in the middle and think again and ruminate again and again. And that is the cause of unhappiness. So accept first what the situation, like you drive a car and your tire bursts. If you don't accept it, what are you going to say? Oh, why it happened to my car? Why the mechanic didn't check? The government is bad. They didn't put a good road. You can go on that and be very unhappy, very stressed. Or you can say, I accept the fact that cars have tires. Tires do go flat. So what do? The moment I accept the fact, and there's a chapter on acceptance, Theresa. The moment you accept first, then you are ready to move on. You do not get stuck. Life continues. Your unhappiness goes away and your happiness starts. Point number 3, you talked about life purpose just now. We all have life purpose, and it's a very common topic. A lot of training and a lot of speakers talk about life purpose. But in my book, I reverse it again. All of us are told you must have life purpose and a lot of training and planning, goals and missions. But I have this idea for you. Do you have a life purpose, or life has a purpose for you? Many times we go in life, we think we have a purpose, we go this direction, that direction. Sometimes it works, sometimes you get blockages, sometimes it's the way you planned it, somewhere it don't. So this book talks a whole chapter on life purpose. And my idea is this: sometimes you have to go with the flow. God, who created us, has a plan also. It's just that we try to override by having our own plan. And then we get very frustrated why things are not happening. And then that is the cause of unhappiness. So sometimes we have to look at the other angle where it says, life has a purpose for me. And as I go through my life, I will fulfill my life purpose. So that is the point that I wanted to address in my book, in the chapter called Life Purpose. And my last point I would like to share is the 80-20 rule. Now, most of us know the 80-20 rule is the Pareto principle, but I modified it. In our life, in the day-to-day life, on an average, 80% of whatever happens is actually in our favor. Life is good up to 80%. There will be a 20% that you have some problems. But instead of focusing on the 80% that is doing well, we are here today, we can communicate through internet, we are able to use computers, we are all fed well, clothed well. Instead of the 80%, some of us focus on the 20%. My wife, if only, my husband, if only, my boss, if only. We are focusing on the 20%, whereas we have a whole chunk of 80% that is doing well. So the idea in happiness, when we talk about in this book, is to not to worry too much about the 20%. things will happen. What can we do? Beyond our control. So much is out of our control. There are things that are not in our control. So I, in the book, mentioned how we can focus on the 80% that we are actually quite well. And 80% is a distinction in my country. 80% is a distinction. We all are there. But what do? We forget about the 80% and we crack the whole night. If only President Rashid, it was like this, and if only so and so is like this, and if only Sony can be like this, but 80% they're fine. 80%, why are we complaining? So this very briefly, Theresa, some of the areas in which I talk in the book. Thank you, Theresa.
Wow, Mr. Vijay, looks like you have summarized 143 pages of book in just 5 minutes. So yeah, regarding the complaints just now, it just struck my mind. Actually, I read somewhere that, about people who like to complain. So if they cannot find anyone or anything to complain, they just can complain the government's the easiest way out. I read it somewhere, but I couldn't remember where. So thank you so much, Mr. Vijay, for the brief, what you call it, a summary of your book. So the next one, Mr. Vijay, actually, I noticed that in your book, you have a part called Words of Wisdom. So I love this part because it is a collection of words from the real people out there, significant people. So can you elaborate more on these words of wisdom?
Oh, sure. It's a pleasure to share. So when I was writing the book, I did my research. I talked to people and all, but I thought a book should be quite balanced. So what I did is I identified with great pain 3 people who I really respect, who really motivated me in my life. And I looked at these people. They are very senior people, very achieved people. I won't categorize them as just intelligent. They are more than intelligent. I would say they are people of wisdom already. Many times when I talk to them, I will say something, and when they talk back to me, I only see wisdom coming out of them. So I have 3 people. They are, number 1, Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Khalid Kadir. The second person is our own Chairman Emeritus, Datuk Dr. Thomas G. And the third person that I interviewed was Datuk Vijaya. So I will briefly tell a little bit, not to share too much, a little bit about them, but I need to read it from my notes because it is their words and I don't want to mistranslate them. Now, the first person was Professor Emeritus Datuk Khalid. He's a doctor. He is one of the best doctors in his field. He is the CEO of a hospital and he also is a professor in Monash University teaching medical students. When I was talking to him about happiness, he cited an incident of how he, through the years, was an excellent student, award. Yet inside, he was not happy. And I asked him why. And he said, although I was excellent in my field, winning awards and scholarships, my close friends did not do so well. And that saddened him. That didn't give him the happiness. So what he did, he studied together with students, he taught them the measure, and then when they all graduated with flying marks, that was his happiness. So he talked about that. Number 2 is Professor is a cancer survivor. So he talks about his journey, his challenges. On the norm, people would be saddened and not happy with cancer, but he's still a very cheerful man that you will want to see, like a very good doctor. I quote him, "Be happy in life. It's like being on top of the mountain. After reaching the peak, you need to come down and face reality." So more of it in the book. What does our Chairman Emeritus say? He says, and I quote, "Happiness is a state of mind. When you have done the best, 2, something worthwhile. Number 3, something that gives you peace." He shares with us his strategy and his success story in his financial world achievements. He very clearly and concisely gives the formula, or rather he describes what are the signs of success and what is the sign of failure. As a bonus, he also includes key traits that he passionately believes. Once again, I quote him. He says, be the best and always be ready. Cheerful, cheerful chairman we have. We are very lucky. The last person is Dato Vijaya. When I interviewed him, he is 92 years old. Today, he's 93 years old, still drives, still goes around life normally. Now, his background was in the sports field. He was Malaysia's first world-class hockey umpire. In 1972, he got that award from the Federation of International Hockey. He says happiness is a choice. He tells about how negative emotions, resentment, and anger affect your happiness. He shares his challenge. See, all these people had their challenges. He shared his challenge when he lost his wife. She passed away overseas when they were on holidays. That is a really life-shattering event. And he explains how he still retained his serenity and his happiness because he had to face the reality of life, fly back his late wife back to Malaysia for a proper funeral. I quote him, let bygones be bygones. Live and let others live too. So Theresa, this is something on the, each of them have their own chapter in my book. To know the details, of course, you need to read the book. So over to you, Theresa.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vijay. I really love the stories of the 3% because they all have their own unique stories and the meaning behind the messages are very different. So, Mr. Vijay, another one is I noticed that in page 55, part 3 in your book, there is this section where you list down some seeds, you call it seeds of life. There are 9 of them. So let me read first what are the 9 seeds for everybody benefit. So the first one is self-love, and then acceptance, gratitude, relationship, overthinking, forgiveness, judgment, contentment, and compassion. It is actually also featured in one of my very short video clip, less than 1 minute. I'll play it after this because I think it is good that I show what are the 9 seeds and also what are the things that the questions that I have when I read this book and it is answered by your book. So let's watch this short video.
You ready? Let's go!
All right, thank you, Mr. Vijay. I really like to watch this video on myself because of the music. Actually, it's actually motivate me. So, Mr. Vijay, I'm interested in one thing: self-love. You list it down in one of the 9 seeds of life. So I want to know more about this self-love. Can you tell me more, and for the benefit of everybody here, about this self-love?
There is a section, a part in my book, which I call 9 Seeds to a Happier Life. Like you mentioned, self-love, acceptance, contentment, the list goes on. You saw in the video. And by the way, your video is really excellent. Probably we will replay it later if you have time. But these are areas in life. These are areas in life that we need to relook, reflect, and think again whether we got our perceptions in life right or wrong. Remember, everything in life is what we see and what we perceive. So you asked me about self-love. And I think self-love is very important. Today, I noticed my personal observation was we are very loving and caring, we show compassion and kindness to others. Something happens, somebody meets an accident, there's a death somewhere. We as a human race are very concerned and very happy, very concerned and very empathy. We show empathy, we show sympathy, we do that. But when it comes to ourselves, we rather be very, very hard on us. Can you remember if somebody's son fails the exam, we are okay. We can go and counsel and tell it's okay and life is okay. But when it comes to us, we find it very difficult to accept failure. Become very difficult to accept that things are not too right. We are very harsh on ourselves. So this book on self-love is important because number one, self-love decides the quality of our life. Number two, self-love is the key to our happiness. Number three, by loving yourself, you can love others equally better. Unfortunately, today, in comparison with us and with others, why we are unhappy, I've seen many, many cases whereby people are actually really not very happy, quite disappointed of themselves. They do not know the fact that you are special, you are unique, you are one in the kind in the whole world. The moment we are able to understand ourselves, appreciate and love ourselves, automatically the way we look at the world, the way we perceive the world changes. And two things about self-love I talk in the book is about self-care, taking care of ourselves, of our health, of our physical too, and self-awareness. We all have this naughty monkey in our brain, self-talk. You can talk a lot. Unfortunately for me, I don't have one monkey. I got 3-4 monkeys in my brain. And the worst part, all the 3 monkeys are talking at the same time. So that's a little bit about self-love. That if you can love yourself, loving others become your second nature. Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay. Yeah, for the explanation on self-love. So I'm sure all 52 or 55 of us in this room, we benefit a lot today from your honey. So I hope everybody is clear now. We have cleared all your curiosity. What is this honey about? So moving on, we're gonna have an activity for all of us here. Okay, everybody will be assigned to a breakup room. So this is gonna be very fun, and here is what to expect. Okay. So before Rita send us to the respective breakup room after this, we will watch a video. So then in the room, everybody, okay, in the room, you will have few members from different countries. Please select and appoint a leader. Next is your group leaders. You are required to give your view or feedback or comments about this video. So leaders, later on, prepare, get ready with your pen and paper because you will need to jot down your group discussions and what are the key points of the feedback that you have discussed. So once you're done, Rita will bring back all members back to the main room and leaders will be called to give their brief feedback. So the video is titled, the title will be You Are Beautiful, but please bear in mind, okay, the first few seconds of this video is without voice. So you just need to wait for a few seconds and you will hear the voice. All right, so we will watch this video.
Basically, I'm making an integrated arts video and I'm just taking pictures of things I find beautiful.
Oh, that's sweet. Why you getting blood?
Things that I find beautiful. Of course. So I just need you to stand there and exist of things I find beautiful. And I think you're a beautiful person. Of course.
It's so awkward.
It's not.
Okay.
Things I find beautiful, and you got a great look. You're beautiful. Just taking pictures of things I find beautiful. I find beautiful. And so, yeah, I think you got a really good look, so I took a picture of you. Beautiful, and I think you got a good look. No problem. What's your name? Awesome. Awesome. Things I find beautiful.
Of what?
Things I find beautiful.
I'll catch you in the face.
What?
You're saying you find me beautiful?
Yes, of course.
You better wash your ass.
You're a beautiful being, and you know it.
Shut up.
You're a beautiful being, and you know it, Zoe.
Alright, are you done then? Do you have what you need?
Why are you being like this?
Clearly you're being goofy.
Things I find beautiful. I'm taking pictures of things I find beautiful. Things I find beautiful. So yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Just continue to look at me.
Just to do anything?
Yeah, do anything you want.
What the fuck am I doing though?
Just look at me. Just look at me.
I kind of don't believe it.
Beautiful. Things I find beautiful.
What?
Things I find beautiful. Things I find beautiful. Of course. Things I find beautiful, so. Things I find beautiful.
I'm sorry.
No, it's completely fine. You're not bad. And I'm just taking pictures of things I find beautiful.
That is so nice.
Well, it's the truth.
This has been such a great day.
So, everybody is quiet. I am sure all of you have a lot to say. So I'm pass this session to Rita. Rita, over to you.
Yeah, so just to clarify, one room will have about 5 or 6 persons. So you introduce yourself to each other and share your thoughts and your feedback on the video that you just saw, You Are Beautiful. This particular breakout session, we are scheduling about 10 minutes. And so then come back after 10 minutes to report out. So are we ready to go to our rooms? Okay, so please enable your video and your audio to network and connect with your team members. Okay, 60 seconds more. Yeah, participants are all back.
So, all right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the main room. I hope you had a very fruitful discussion with your family members and getting to know each other. So, all right. I think with view of time, let's go straight to the group findings. Let me call upon group number 1. Who is in group number 1, the leader? Can you tell us your feedback? What is your group's feedback?
Angelina will talk.
Okay,
Yeah,
Atif.
me will
Continue.
talk about this. So we have discussed in the group, and we like discussing and get the point that what we get from the video. So what we get from the video itself is like for all women and men. So like for women we say beautiful, and for men we say it's handsome actually. Yeah. So for those men, we actually can say that men are handsome, and the beauty, the what we call as a beautiful, is actually the inner glow from us, from our own radiant sunshine that we blow up to people. So that's why in the video, as my opinion, we can see there's the people, when strangers say they are beautiful, they accept that with a big smile, with a beauty, that with the inner beauty. So that's why other than our inner glow, actually the beauty is also the mind, and it's relate with the mind and heart, and our heart also. So for those young, for those that we see that did not like, they deny that they're beautiful, they didn't shine the the inner beauty that they actually get. Yeah, that they have actually. I mean, yeah. So that's why we can also see the reflection when we see people who accept the beauty. Again, not only for the beauty from the outside, they actually accept the beauty from the inside also. They give the big smile. But for those who like deny already from the outside already, they deny that they're beauty. They give the expression that inside also, like really they need like people who can shine their beauty. That's why. So that's what we actually discuss about. And also beauty is the eye, actually the eyes of the beholder. The beholder should know that they are actually beautiful. So that's what we discuss inside the group. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. You are from group 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you from group number 1. Okay. From group number 3, quickly, what is your finding? It's Akmal's group. So group number 3.
Okay, hi everyone. Okay, so from what we understand and discussed just now, with me, Dr. Peng, and also Jean Lim. Okay, so we understand that it's back to the purpose of life and the life purpose. Okay, the purpose of living and the life purpose. So because we see that saying or telling someone nice things will immediately help to build rapport. However, there's also someone that doesn't accept the nice things, you know. This is where we understand that we have filters, which this is actually builded when we are still in imprint age, from 0 to 7. So this is where limiting belief are builded, and also personal experience builded. So from this we understand that with personal experience lead to limiting belief and filters. So this is what we understand. And happiness, and that is how people value belief. They value expectations, and also what else? That's all. So that is how they build belief, value, and expectations. Yeah. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Akmal. So we go next to group number 4, Mr. Atif from Thailand.
Okay, yeah. I'm the representative of group 4. Yeah, so I will summarize what we discussed, into the like a concise summary. Yeah, from our group, we noticed that this is, a kind of experiment, of the project. Back to Mr. Vijay's talk, right? He said programming and conditioning. Yeah, so this is a kind of programming experiment. So there are three factors that I spotted in this experiment. First is the giver, the one who gives the compliment. The second is the receiver. And the third factor is the compliment. Yeah. And the reactions that we got from the experiment, right? After programming, we got the first one, happy, right? Like a happy feeling, the surprise feeling, and the angry feeling, right? That we can see from the experiment. So if this depends on the background of the one who got the receiver, right? Who got the compliments as well. If they got the positive mental attitude, right? They can be happy and they can be surprised at the compliment as well. But for the one who got angry, right? At the compliment, that may be because they have a negative mental attitude or the low self-esteem, as their background. That's why we got 3 reactions coming out from this experiment. Yeah. So this is very good, to make observation about how we can program the minds of the receiver.
All right. Thank you, group number 4. Next one, we go to group number 5, Lim Arni's group.
Hello. My group shared that beautiful is such a powerful word, and it's changed the whole perspective of the person who received the word. It suddenly they smile and they are very happy. And then when we so one of my friend, they said, so she will start using the word beautiful to herself and to her family members. Is what a very good idea of that. And then the video is very powerful. It shows very instant effect on people and very affirming. It's affirming of someone's worth. But however, some are caught in their own personal paradigm and they do not accept that compliment, and that they give a threatening reply on that. That's all from my group. Thank you. Back to you, Theresa.
All right, thank you, group number 5. Next one, we proceed to group number 6, is Maria's group.
Would you like to share, Dr. Rosemary?
Oh, sure, I can do that. I would love to do that. Well, we talked about a couple of things. One of the things we talked about is sometimes because of life, happiness doesn't really kick in, but there's a little technique you can use, which is, my mother used to say, if you fake it for 15 minutes, you can feel anything, which you can take a lot of different ways. But to really have your body embrace a sense of happiness and positive attitude. And after 15 minutes, you begin to feel it a little bit. And then we talked about, and there was a note about, I was surprised no one in the video also said, and you're beautiful too. And we talked about how there was like almost shock, and that it's so unusual to get that kind of very direct feedback. And then I had shared, I have these little bookmarks, which I don't have with me at the moment, that I showed the group, which is their little like happiness bookmarks, which is choose happiness and follow your dreams. And I was sharing with the group that when I go to a restaurant, in addition to giving a tip, I usually leave one of these tokens. And without a doubt, someone runs after me, a waiter, like, I left a precious gift. And I was like, no, you are the gift. So I think all of us are ambassadors of happiness and spreading the joy, particularly thanks to ARTDO. We continually up-level our programming in our brains. So hopefully we're the best human beings we can be.
All right. Thank you. Group number 6, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. We move on to group number 8. Any representative from group number 8, Patricia group?
Maybe Miss Harima, one Harima can do it, or you want me to do? Or Mr.
I think
Rashid?
it's better you.
Rashid, up to you. Go ahead, my dear. Go ahead.
I leave it to you, madam. This is my first time. Let me listen first.
You leave it to me. Okay. Let me say, most people do not know the actual definition of beautiful. Usually, we see a beautiful girl. We would, in England, especially for the English, is she is pretty. They will say, but usually the definition for beautiful is pretty outside and beautiful also inside out. That means the whole being is beautiful, then they call beautiful. But nevertheless, from the video, when they were complimented with the word that they are beautiful, some of them, most of them, I would say, are very humbled by it. And there are a few, they were annoyed by or taken aback, and they were not happy. I think within them, they are not happy. They are not at peace, and they don't truly feel good about themselves. So even though they may look pretty or beautiful, right? So they even scolded the lady who said he or she is beautiful. So I would say that, like Mr. Rashid says, it depends on persons. How they perceive themselves, some of them don't even know they are beautiful or they are pretty. So that's about it, I think.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Madam Patricia. So we move on to group number 9, Group Albert. Any representative?
Yeah, our group. I'm from group number 9, and our group, there were 4 of us, and we agree that you are beautiful. It's a very beautiful word, which you can use to meet, especially if a lady, a lady friends, they say you are beautiful. Very polite way to greet people, and then it's considered as one of the most meaningful things that you can say to people whom you meet for the first time. And also, we agree that when you, especially in the morning, when you get up in every morning, you look at yourself at the mirror and tell yourself you are beautiful, and be ready for the day to motivate yourself. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 9. So, okay, in view of time, it's already, our time here is 9:35. So I would like to thank everybody for your participations. It's very good to hear from all of you. So moving on, Mr. Vijay, do you have anything to say before we move to the next section?
Yes, a quick point on the video that we saw to all the groups. Thank you all for giving your various feedback. The purpose of the video was only one. The situation was the same. Everybody knew it was a project. Everybody knew they were being filmed, and everybody was told you are beautiful. That's like the world. Everybody has the same world. But what happened in the internal world, in your mind, some welcome it with a big smile. Some were very neutral. They didn't know what was happening. Some were rather rude and irritated. So that's what happens in life. It all goes down to, as what President Rashid mentioned, how we see and perceive the world. Situation is the same. We reacted differently. So the message actually is, it all goes back to our beliefs, values, and assumptions that we have on life. So concluding this session, I would like to say, happiness is an inside job, not out there. How you see and perceive makes a difference because of your mindset. Number 2, accept whatever comes cheerfully. After all, life is a learning journey, learning to become better and better. And the last point is, always be in equanimity. What do I mean by equanimity? When you're happy, be reasonably happy, not overjoyed. And if you are in sorrow and pain, don't be too painful. Because why? When happiness comes, Miss Pain is looking at you. When Miss Pain comes, Mr. Happy is looking at you. They are in turns. So stay in equilibrium. And that's what I have. And I would like to end my session with Dr. Thomas's words. Happiness is a choice. It is a mindset. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay, for your closing remark. So, all right, I think we are almost towards the end of the session. So, on behalf of ARTDO, I would like to thank everyone here, each one of you, on this beautiful Saturday for attending this webinar. So, until we meet again at the next ARTDO webinar. So, with this, I will pass it back to Dr. Atif, the CEO of ARTDO International. Thank you, everyone, and over to you, Dr. Atif.
Thank you very much, Ms. Theresa, and thank you very much also to Mr. Vijay Kumar. Really, I like the dialogue style of this session, and I like the different lovely videos and involvement of participants, which is very energetic and make the information went directly and absorbed without any problem. One of the takeaway for me from that, happiness in the life is extremely fantastic like honey. So it's lovely, delicious, and nutritious. Happiness also, as indicated by Mr. Vijay Kumar, is a feeling, beauty, acceptance, emotion, and a way of life for successful people who reflected that to their institutions and family, which is so great. It is the same like honey, which is contain more than 180 nutrients such as glucose, protein, amino acid, minerals, vitamins, and active enzyme, and so on. Also, Mr. Vijay indicated that sharing experiences on happiness will improve our adaptation, and it is like taking 1 or 2 tablespoons of honey, which is contained and make our body healthy and supplement our body needs and promote our metabolism and enhance our immunity. So let us be ambassador for happiness. And I hear this from Rose in her group, but I'm very happy that all of us be ambassadors for happiness. Maybe we can give also a chance to our brother Jitesh from India to show us his takeaway, because this session is full of takeaways for all of us. Jitesh?
Thank you, Brother Atif. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Beautiful session for sure. And when we talk about the takeaway, honestly speaking, I've had the privilege of having an early takeaway from Brother Vijay. And it has led me out of the difficult situation wherein my mother had to undergo multiple surgeries, my father undergoing sugar-related problems, and so on. But I could sail through with some of the classic inputs from Brother Vijay. As he rightly says, when we talk about beliefs, values, and we see that the world outside is not in equilibrium, then yes, that's where the problem starts. And one of the takeaway that I have from this statement is to find the world within and be accommodative to your surroundings. That's the first one. The second point which caught my attention was with respect to how we as human beings are programmed for our emotions. And I must say, the best of the program that we have is adaptability, and to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this, in my view, is something, if we are able to, then surely we would experience happiness. And last but not the least, as we say, the benefits of honey is not momentary. Though the taste might be momentary, the effects of it and the benefits are forever. So similarly, when we talk about happiness and pleasure, there is a very thin line that separates the difference between the two. While the pleasure is momentary, a true happiness is something which lasts forever, And at any given point of time, when we look back to cherish, we feel happy about it. And this can be obtained through various means, which Brother Vijay has wonderfully put across. And I believe that all of us here would surely look forward to being happy rather than pleasures of the moments. So these are my takeaways, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Kitish. And we cannot close our curtain before listening to the President of ARTDO International, Mr. Rashid. Rashid, please.
Thank you, Dr. Atif, and all the colleagues. On behalf of ARTDO, I know the session has gone a little longer, so I would not take much of your time. But just I would only say a big thank you to Vijay, whom I have started personally knowing him lately, and I really admire him. And this session in per se has added that perspective much more. Definitely, the topic itself is very curious. And also the word happiness itself is very complicated and a very tricky word itself, but I think he has done beautifully. And I personally agree with Vijay saying that happiness is not the first, but be happy first, and then you will see happiness. I really believe in that. The contentment and the happiness, and to be happy first, will lead you to happiness. So once again, thank you, Vijay, and to all the members in particular from ARTDO who have joined the webinar, and also the guests who have been invited through our members. We welcome you to this webinar and also to our future sessions. Extremely well attended and from many countries. So I personally, on behalf of ARTDO, thank you all, and looking forward to see you all in the future. And we will at least have one session a month, and we all look forward to you for such interesting topics as today's, even in the future. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very grateful to you, Mr. Vijay Kumar, for this very interesting and happy session. Thank you for Theresa, and also special thanks to all young people from Sarawak who gave us very high energy in this session, and I hope that you can attend all our coming ARTDO International webinar, and maybe some of you will become member in ARTDO International. Thank you very much, and see you all in the next session.
We're gonna take a group photograph now. Everybody, please put your videos on. So we have to take 2 times, right?
Okay. Smile.